Hey yo. Hey yo.
As part of this new feature for Scotia, we're going to bring you a series of films looking at the lives and views of veterans. Too often, those who have served in our armed forces are relegated out of the national conversation, seen to be either too nationalistic, whether that's in favour of Scottish independence or in favour of maintaining our connections to the British state. At Scotia, we want to bring you an in-depth look at the personalities behind the uniforms, behind the cut-out soldiers that are presented to you by either the corporations or the media or by the vested interests.
So I joined the army in 1986 as a sweet-faced 17-year-old. I joined the Royal Signals. I then served for 7 years in the Royal Signals before transferring to the Adjutant General's Corps, and then served for 20 years in that mob before coming out in 2013. I think a lack of opportunity, really. I mean, I grew up in a little place called Wishaw in Lanarkshire, just in the shadow of Ravenscraig. That was kind of dying a death. I left school at 16 with no qualifications, so people weren't exactly queuing up to give me a job. So I think it was just one day out of the blue, I just stuck my head in the recruiting office and said, "What's the chances?" And the next thing I knew, I was on on a train to Darlington, and that was it. So over 27 years, there's so many places and so many memories. Not so much memories as kind of experiences, you know, the kind of the collective coming together, the sort of camaraderie of people, getting everyone together. You know, we did deployments to Northern Ireland and Afghanistan, and the former Yugoslavia and places like that. So I'm really proud of the part that I played, the small part that I played in being a part of that team. So not any kind of particular memory. I mean, I have some not so pleasant memories from some of those places, but I don't really think that's what we're looking for here. I think when I first joined the army, I wasn't really interested in politics, which might sound weird because being in the army, you're at the sharp end of the political decisions. So it was very much just going with the flow. And I think, you know, I remember actually 97 when Tony Blair was elected, actually cheering at the time, you know, having grown up and existed under the kind of Thatcher and Major governments for the previous kind of 18 years. So it was that kind of optimism and that hope and that desire for change. And then when the Scottish Parliament formed in '99, again I still wasn't that interested because it seemed to be just more of the same. But I think when the SNP became the minority government in 2007, it started doing things differently. I think that's when it became apparent that it was possible to do that. It was possible to do things differently, to take a different track from the Westminster government, and the fact that since '99, when the Scottish Parliament formed, that the Labour Lib Dem coalition government had just followed the same track as the Westminster government, and then to see that difference in approach, the different mentality, the different attitude, I think that's really when I thought, hang on, maybe we can do this. And then being in the military and actually hearing, you know, Scotland couldn't do it because we're too wee or we haven't got the resources. But that wasn't borne out by my experiences in the countries that I'd been to and the countries that I'd seen, some bigger than Scotland, some smaller than Scotland, that prospered as small independent nations. So it wasn't an epiphany for me. It was really like a slow dawning realisation that Scotland could and should be an independent nation. Well, I think Scotland already has a good reputation internationally. I think Scotland, the brand, is well known, not just for Scotch whisky and shortbread and tartan, but certainly as inventors and entrepreneurs and innovators. So I think Scotland being an independent nation will allow us to capitalise on that more. I think a lot of the time that is subsumed by the Union Jack slapped on everything that kind of diminishes Scotland, the brand. And it's sad because we have the resources, we have the people, we have the ideas to go out there and actually make Scotland a leader in the world, whether in politics, in industry, in business. Independence is the only way to achieve that, I think. Veterans, much as the British Army, is representative of the wider population. So we are your sons, your daughters, your wives, your husbands, your aunts, your uncles. We're exactly the same people. We've done something that some people rather wouldn't do. We've been in some places where it's not been so nice, but we are exactly the same people as everyone else. In the army, you have people that support independence, and veterans, you have people that support independence. But you have people that go the other end of the political spectrum. We're exactly the same. So I think people need to realise that veterans and the British Army are not some homogenous unit when it comes to their political beliefs. We have a variety of eclectic beliefs, as do the rest of the population.